Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. My name is Zakat Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. Today's been a bit of a rainy day today here. Well, funny day. It's been sunny, hot, rainy, and yeah. So as you can tell, I'm not that enthusiastic about rain too much. It was nice. I like summer rain. Summer rain has a nice smell to it. I don't know if you guys enjoy the summer rain, but anyway. Saturdays is for live Q&A, and as you guys know, I try to help you guys answer your questions that you might have, and that's it basically. So let me live stream this onto Instagram as well. Let's see how this will work on Instagram. Let's see if Insta is gonna work. Okay, live. Okay, so it looks a bit brightish. Right, so ahlan wa sahlan, welcome guys. So me, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What does لا محل من الإعراب? لا محل له من الإعراب means a word or a phrase that does not fit into the sentence where normally an i'rab would be. Yeah, so for example, like if you have a mawsul and a sila, whatever is in the sila does not have any mahal of i'rab. It's not marfu. So if you say, for example, like رأيت الذي يأكل الطعام. So يأكل الطعام, that is the sila of الذي. So this الذي mawsul, and the word, the phrase after it or sentence after it is a sila. It's not marfu, it's not mansub, it's not majroor. That's what it means. So when it says لا محل له من الإعراب, it just means it's not marfu, it's not mansub. I actually done a course on my Uruk.com. It's called Arabic Grammar and Tarkib, Arabic Grammar and Tarkib course. It's about 15 lessons or so, and in there's a section where I explain the different types of those words that have mahal of i'rab and no mahal of i'rab. So you can check that out. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were Christians who could purchase and sell items connected to their religion. In the current day, would it be permissible for a Muslim shopkeeper to sell symbols of other religions? So at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were Christians who could purchase and sell items connected to their religion. Yeah, amongst themselves they can buy and sell it, but Muslims can't sell it. Yeah, so anything which is considered to be like wrong, categorically wrong in Islam, you can't sell it basically. So a Muslim is not allowed to sell it to a Christian, but Christians amongst themselves can buy and sell. So same thing with any sort of like explicitly Christian or Jewish or Sikh or Hindu symbol. You can't sell those. Assalamu alaikum, Nafim. Ahlan wa sahlan. Serious question. Are condoms allowed? Yes, contraception is allowed in Islam. Yeah, according to Hanafis, contraception is allowed. However, both partners should, first of all, give consent of it. So as long as both partners are okay with it, then husband and wife are okay with it, then it's fine. It's allowed. Harun wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. MashaAllah. Hope you guys are all well, enjoying yourselves on this nice, strange day. Today I've got my peach tea. And welcome to everyone on Instagram. If you're watching, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. Yeah, so as you can see, the lights in the back are flashing because this week has been the 10th anniversary of Roots of Knowledge. Alhamdulillah, 10th anniversary, 10 years. That means 10 years, 10th birthday rather. Will gender interactions be different in Jannah? Allah knows best. I don't know, my brother. I always hear some women say that they'd like to meet X and Y scholar in Jannah. So the whole of the rules of Jannah are going to be different. Right? So rules in Jannah are not going to work according to the physics of this world. So the physics of this world are not going to work. So therefore, we don't know. Yeah. So inshallah, when we get there, we'll find out. MashaAllah, Maulana Hazfaz, Maulana Zayf, Ahlan wa sahlan. What should one do to save up for Hajj or go Umrah? What should one do? Good question. This is. I don't know exactly what should one do, but I've got some ideas in my head. I was thinking about of how a person could save up for Hajj. Yeah, because it's quite expensive, isn't it now? So what you can do is, this is one idea that I've got. One idea is that every time you go for a meal, instead of buying something in there, like for example, let's say you're going to buy, I don't know, something extra. Think about that money that you're going to spend on that. Don't buy that thing, and that money put it towards your Hajj. Yeah. So every time you're going to buy something, you're going to feel as though you're putting it towards something good, right? So obviously it's going to encourage you more to go out more to eat as well. That's one thing you can do. Second thing that you can possibly do is that every week a small amount of money you put into savings. So you can have, depending on what bank account you got, there's certain bank accounts that you can actually put aside a certain amount in a savings account. So you can automatically do that. That's the second way you can do it. Third is if you invest in like an Islamic stocks. There's a company called Wahid Invest. So what you can do in there is you can actually invest some money and then slowly allow that money to build up over time. And then you can even put like a label on there that you want this for Hajj. And once it reaches that target, then you can go Hajj with it. And that's quite sort of like that's kind of like a good way, because you don't even realize that money is actually making money for you, investing. Can you please explain the meaning of the hadith? Abdullah ibn Amr reported the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever turns back from something due to seeing an omen. I don't know. Do you have the Arabic for it, brother? If you can show me the Arabic for it, I can probably help you. But what is the Hanafi stance on abortions, Muhtisab? So not permitted. Abortion is not permitted unless there is a valid need for it. And if you guys want to know more about this, if you type in Salman Yunus and abortion. So Maulana Salman Yunus has a long article on the Hanafi position on abortion. But in the gist is that it's not allowed unless there's a need for it. And then there's like certain time limits that the Hanafis have set as well. So it's a long discussion. It requires explaining a lot of things. So this is why I read that article, and the article explains it very well. If there is nothing between the dua of the oppressed and Allah as per hadith, why are so many oppressors still running free? So one thing we have to understand is dua is not a switch of a button. It's not like you make a dua, automatically the light comes on. No, it doesn't. So imagine like a road getting to a destination. So imagine you're traveling from London to Manchester. So you make the dua in London, and then once you get to Manchester, your dua is accepted. So sometimes we make dua and we think that the dua should occur immediately. So when the hadith mentioned that, for example, like a person who's oppressed, their dua is accepted, that doesn't mean that if they raise their hands and make a dua, instantaneously the dua comes true. The hadith doesn't say that. Hadith says that Allah will accept their dua. It doesn't say after a day or after a week or after a year, or even after 10 years, or even in their lifetime, but it will happen. Can we understand the word qawwamuna as patriarchs? Patriarchs, what does patriarchs, what do you mean by patriarchs? That's the thing. Qawwamun basically means the one who stands and takes care of. From the word qama yaqumu, the one who stands and takes care of. I have a question regarding your Kuduri videos on Miss Prayer. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, Harun. What's up? Are we obligated to save for Hajj? No, you don't have to save Hajj. No. I thought Hajj only becomes fard. Yes, you don't have to save Hajj. But for some people, they want to save for Hajj, for example, right? And, that's up to them. But the question that the Maulana asked was, how would you save up for Hajj? Okay. My warm thoughts. How can we improve on Arabic speaking being in the West? So check out my warm thoughts. Check out my Arabic podcast. I've got an Arabic podcast where I invite people on there and we have a chat. At the moment, it's on hold at the moment. But if you go on my YouTube channel, or if you go on Google, YouTube, and type in Arabic podcast Liaquat Zaman, and you'll find it there. It's possible. There are so many people that I was shocked that have learned Arabic fluently living in the West. I have never visited an Arab country. Right. A priori, does a woman have to track her thought habit also? Yes, because most of the time it's explained that the women has only a track. Yeah, so basically when they say you have to track your ada, it means the ada of the hayd and the tuhur. Yeah, so you have to track two things: ada of the hayd, menstruation, and ada of the tuhur. Yeah, because you can only know the hayd when it's going to occur after the number of days of tuhur has passed. You mentioned in minute 9 that if I can't remember the minutes. He mentioned he missed his Fajr and remembers at Maghrib time, then he repeats Fajr, Zuhur, Asr, then he prays Maghrib. If he missed his Fajr and remembers at Maghrib time, then he repeats, then he prays Maghrib. Why does he repeat prayer that he already prayed? So the Hanafis say basically, they say the sequence of salats is obligatory, meaning Fajr, Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib. That sequence is obligatory. So if you missed, let's say 5 salats or less, then you have to make up that sequence in order, yeah, before the next salat. That's the idea. But if you missed more than 5, then the sequence drops. It's called tartib. Right. Next, Ibn Adam. I have a question, Sheikh. The Quran says there is no change for Allah's words. Then the Christians say, how did the Bible get changed? If Quran says, the Quran did not say, the Quran says kalimat Allah. Kalimat Allah does not mean the Quran. Remember that. Don't get that confused. Kalimatullah means the promises of Allah. Whatever promises Allah has made, they will never ever change. Kalimat in the Quran does not mean the kalam of Allah. They're two separate things. Kalamullah is separate. Kalimatullah is separate. Yeah, like Isa alayhi salam is kalimatullah. Isa alayhi salam is the kalimatullah. Yeah, so I think that's a confusion that people have. And so Allah has even said about the Jews and Christians, has said, بِمَسْتُحْفِظُوا مِنْ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. So the Kitab Allah was left, the protection of the Kitab Allah was left to them. As for this ummah, Allah Himself has said, إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا ذِكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. That we have sent down the dhikr, I've sent down the dhikr, and I will protect it myself, Allah says. So no way has Allah mentioned that for the previous. So that's just a confusion. My warm thoughts. Also, I wanted to ask in regards to plucking eyebrows, is it permissible? So generally, the plucking of the eyebrows is allowed as long as you don't thin them. The issue is regarding the thinning, the Hanafi say. Yeah, so thinning the eyebrows. So in the middle here, you're allowed to remove the hair here, totally. And if it's quite bushy, then you can fix them up. But to make them thin, right, that is not permissible. Some of the Hanafis have allowed for a wife if a husband requests it from her. Yeah, to shape the eyebrows. Anwar Siddiqi, wa alaikum assalam. My question got scrolled up. If you can read it again, jazakallah khair. Okay, let me check. Check. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Is it permissible to have cartoons, animals on children's clothes? Most clothes have them. Yes, it'll be permissible because they are not there. They're very small, first of all. That's the first thing. Number two, they're not worn out of honoring them. Yeah, so it's not like you're honoring them. And kids' clothes is very, very widespread now, these kind of patterns and designs. So it's more like a pattern than it is really like an image. That's what you look at it. Haydar Ali wa alaikum assalam. What is the difference between your Quduri, Uruk, and YouTube? So the Quduri on Uruk is basically the one that I teach in the full time. That's the whole of the Quduri that I explained there. So it's just like you watching me and I explain it. Whereas the one I do on my YouTube channel is the one where I actually draw. You don't see me, you just see the drawing on the screen. Yeah. Muhammad Mullah. Wa alaikum assalam, my brother M. Mullah. Is it permissible to allow our kids to believe in things like the tooth fairy? So the thing is this, look, when we say you're not allowed to believe in something, you can't believe, you have to teach your kids things that are beliefs which cannot contradict Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beliefs that He's given us. So anything that contradicts the beliefs that Allah has given us, those are all impermissible. But let's say there's a mum and she kind of like wants to scare the kids. And she wants to say, oh, there's a monster in the woods and this monster is going to come after you if you do this. And right, so that kind of belief is okay because it doesn't really necessarily contradict the Sharia. Whether it's a good thing for the parents to do that or not, that's a separate issue. Some people say that's kind of like a lie, so parents should avoid it. Some say it's not a lie. So, it's kind of like one of those ones. However, the tooth fairy, I personally think like things like tooth fairy, I don't know. What do you guys say? What do you think? Tooth fairy belief, is it kind of like giving some sort of special powers to the tooth fairy that belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If it is, then it shouldn't be. But if it's just like this belief that, if you have a tooth and then money, you'll find money there, I don't see that as being something contradicting the tenets of Islam. Although I wouldn't say it's something that people should actively try and teach their kids. Does the Hanafi madhab consider it a sunnah to visit the cemetery at any specific times? Eid? Not necessarily sunnah mu'akkada. Like it's not considered to be like a specifically mu'akkad act that we should do. No, rather it's considered recommended. Some Hanafis say on Fridays. Some Hanafis say a few times in a year. Yeah, so nothing specific about dates of visiting. Can you explain the meaning of the hadith Abdullah ibn Amr reported? Man raddathu at-tayratu min hajatin faqad ashraka. Okay, so this hadith, basically what this hadith means is that if a person believes in a bad omen, like for example, seeing a black cat is going to bring something bad into your life, or walking under a ladder is going to bring something bad, so you believe in some sort of that superstition of some sort, then this is considered to be wrong. As a Muslim, we don't believe in superstitions. However, if a person, let's say for example, like if a person really kind of believes in a superstition, like honest, genuinely believes in a superstition, which is categorically against the beliefs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is shirk. Yeah. However, if it's not at that level, then it's considered to be an act which is something that mushriks do. So it doesn't mean this person has become mushrik. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that they've become mushrik, but it means that this is an act which is like something which stems from a shirky culture. So it's not from a tawheed culture. But it doesn't mean that if a person believes, or if a person in their mind kind of thinks about some sort of a superstitious action, that they'll become mushrik. No. Can a person self-study fiqh al-muyassar? You can try it. Yeah, why not? You can try it, but I doubt they'll be able to get through large sections of it. Whoever turns back from some thoughts on Joe Biden. I have no idea. Assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan, Eskan, ahlan wa sahlan, you're welcome. Mubarak on hitting a huge thank you very much. Jazakallah khair for your kind du'as and your support for the channel. May Allah bless you as well. You're one of the earliest supporters of the channel, mashallah. Yeah, may Allah bless you. May Allah grant us esteemed company. Ameen. Ameen. May Allah give us all good lives, long, healthy lives, pious lives. So the Quduri is available. So on my YouTube channel, I've done it from the beginning all the way almost to the end of Hajj. And then you can have the whole Quduri on my Uruk. But the one on my Uruk is a paid one. That's a paid one, that is. But on the YouTube channel, from beginning to almost the end of Hajj, it's free of charge. So you can check that out. If you go to my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge. Can men wear tight clothes even though people can see his calf? If the tight clothes around the upper area of the legs, that should be avoided totally. Yeah, but if it's tight at the bottom, below the knees, then it's fine. Yeah, below the knees, fine. Upper part, then it's something which should not be worn. Men should not. They should have some modesty, some shame. They shouldn't wear these kind of clothes. Ibrahim, can you please explain who Atharis are? Atharis basically are the position of the early Muslims of the Ummah. The early Muslims of the Ummah, Sahaba, Tabi'een, Taba Tabi'een, these were known as the Atharis, who held, whatever they believed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his sifat and everything, but they did not delve into the interpretation of these. Majority of them didn't. So, and they believed that Allah is free of any defect. Say tanzih, so tafweed and tanzih they used to do. Yeah, that's what it is. Yasin, wa alaikum assalam. Long time, my brother. Long time, mashallah. I had a cream on my foot and we did wudu. I'm not sure if its cream got wiped off. I let Zohar, totally fine. Yeah, creams are fine. Wa alaikum assalam, Abu Umar. Came across a question today. There is currently very heavy flooding in Bangladesh. How should the dead be buried? Subhanallah. I'm not sure, I think they need to ask the scholars that are in that location. So mashallah, Bangladesh has an abundance of amazing scholars. I think you should ask the local scholars there because they will know exactly what possible. So when someone asks someone a question, it's always best to ask someone a question who is in that particular environment because they will know all the options there. Like, I don't know all the options in Bangladesh, so I wouldn't be able to give an accurate answer. Maybe my answer would be 40% accurate. But someone living in that country and is knowledgeable would know, okay, let's say you can't bury them. What other options are there in that country? So they'll be able to help you with that. Generally, to say if there is no way to bury the deceased, at all, then it would be permissible to actually throw them in the sea. Yeah, throwing them in the sea would be permissible as a second option because there's no land to bury them. Alhamdulillah, got my degree, mashallah, mashallah. Ahlan wa sahlan, mubarak, mubarak, Mullah. Ahlan wa sahlan, mubarak. Well done, bro, well done. Selling your body parts to a spirit who visits in the night is way too iffy. Plus, most fairy elves, gnomes, tales are based on jinn. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, when I was young, my parents never told me about tooth fairy. I mean, I think they did. I can't remember. Did they? Did they not? You kind of knew your parents are the ones that put your money there. Would you say your kuduri on YouTube is sufficient to say I completed kuduri? Yeah, possibly. The thing is, what you need to do is after you've completed it, you need to do a test just to see if you've understood it. Right. So after you've completed it, go to a scholar and ask them to test you on it. According to Hanafi fiqh, if a man sees wetness in his underwear after waking up from an erotic dream and is unsure if it's mani or madhi, he has to ghusl. But what if a woman? See, the problem with the woman is that the woman, because obviously her physiology is different than a man's, she doesn't have something that we call mani. She doesn't have semen. So that's why for them, it would simply be that any wetness that is seen with the erotic dream would be considered to be necessary for ghusl. So they say. Tooth fairy. Would you recommend Sheikh Ali Hani's lessons on Arabic and tafsir? I'm definitely, if you can benefit from them, yeah, definitely have a go. Listen to it. Mr. Jannah, alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. I want to ask, how is idha a mudaf? So idha is what we call a dharf, and dharfs are mudaf. So idha is a mudaf to the sentence that comes after it. So for example, idha ja'a nasrullahi wal fath. Ja'a nasrullahi wal fath to the end. All of that is the jumla, which is the mudaf ilayhi of idha. Yeah. Right. Are there any training courses to become Iraqi? I have no idea. No idea. When symbols of other religions are haram for a Muslim shopkeeper to sell, does this also include religious books of other religions being implemented? So, books, because if it's not a Bible, if it's just something else, then possibly, or if it's the Bible is being sold to educate the people, right? Like Muslims need to become educated on what's in it. I wouldn't see a problem with that. But to sell like a symbol, like a cross or anything of that sort, that wouldn't be allowed. Yeah. So books and those kind of things, I wouldn't see a problem unless it's like a book which is clearly promoting, and there's a fear that this will, indoctrinate someone who reads it, a Muslim. Then no. Right. Mufti Saab, we just need to get 100K of this year, inshallah. Hopefully in November, this year, November, guys. Hopefully this year, November, we are going to hit 100,000, inshallah. Very different situation for the people of Bangladesh at the moment. My nanny's house got flooded, a lot of areas still without gas and electricity. Subhanallah. May Allah make it easy for the people of Bangladesh. Have you met Mufti Menk and Sheikh Hassan Ali? I know Sheikh Hassan Ali very well. Mufti Menk, no, I haven't met him. So what inspired you to start YouTube channel, and were you inspired by any other YouTubers? What actually inspired me was there was a guy called Salman Khan. Yeah, he had a YouTube channel called Khan Academy in America, and that's one of the things that inspired me. I thought to myself, you know what? No one out of the Muslims has really thought about doing something similar where we can, on a mass level, just educate people on the Islamic sciences, right, and make it really interesting. So that's basically why I done it. And obviously some other guys were telling me as well about start something similar for people. Alhamdulillah, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, mashallah. And I hope other people start doing this the same as well and teach. The thing is, it's easy to start a YouTube channel, but consistency, having good quality, right? I think those are the two things that people lack in. Consistency is very, very important, right? Which is you got to do things regularly, regular, non-stop, right? That is very important. And number two is you have to have good quality, and you always have to work towards better quality because technology is always updated, right? So when technology updates, then people need to also keep up with the technology. So it's very important. I personally think that Muslims need to be aware of what's out there so that they can utilize it and benefit the masses. What do you guys say? What do you guys think about like the coming 20, 30 years on social media, YouTube, and all of that for Muslims to educate people? Well, what's your view? Should one memorize Ajurumiyya, Qatar, and Alfiya ibn Malik? If you can, of course, definitely. But if you can't, then it doesn't matter. Do you have a playlist on YouTube for your Quduri? Yes. So if you go to my YouTube playlists, you'll find the Quduris. Mukhtasar al-Quduri is called. Uthman Ahmed, alaikum salam. I'm in full-time Hifz class with Urdu reading class Monday to Friday, Saturday half day. I want to learn Arabic, so it's possible to do Quranic Arabic on Sunday, only having no other time. So only being able to focus on Arabic on a Sunday, or would this a bad idea and make Arabic learning kacha? It's good if you can do it. The more you do it, the better it is. I would say if you do my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, it's £50. My Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, that will help you a lot. Even if you do it once a week, it will seriously help you in your journey in Arabic. Definitely, without a doubt. And if anyone is interested in learning Quranic Arabic, it's £50 course. There's the details below. Right, email here, or you can go to the Rook channel or website. Salam Sheikh. In regards to the hadith, if two Muslims are fighting with their swords, then the qat maqtura in the fire, how do you understand this? So this is basically talking about Allah knows their intentions. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said this hadith out of like severity. Yeah, this is what we call tashdeedan, like being severely strict on Muslims. Now this doesn't mean that every two Muslims that fight are going to be in the fire of hell. Doesn't mean that. This is why the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, we stay silent about them, because Allah has already said about them radiallahu anhum. That evidence is stronger than anything else. Allah said radiallahu anhum, khalas, radiallahu anhum. Just like when the Prophet ﷺ, he said about Hatib ibn Abi Balta', right? So he was a Badri Sahabi, and he sent a letter with the mushriks to tell his family that the Muslims are gonna be attacking Makkah, so protect yourselves. And the Prophet ﷺ, when someone asked that, look, why don't you like make an example of him? And he said, what do you know? This guy participated in Badr, and Allah has forgiven all the people of Badr. Yeah, so this is why when it comes to Sahaba, we zip our lips. Okay, a broad question. This is a broad question. How can the deen be presented in a watertight manner to people affected by feminism? It's too common amongst young women from Muslim families. Yeah, I think that is a very good question. That is. I honestly don't know the 100% answer for this, but there are some sort of like things to think about, which I'll mention. First of all, any like foreign ideology, how does a Muslim protect a family? How does a Muslim, first of all, protect themselves? And then how does a Muslim protect their family? And then how their community from any foreign beliefs which are corrupting them? How do you do that? So that's been something from the days of Sahaba all the way till today that Muslims have been concerned about. And there's things in place for that. Right? So ideally you have a Muslim government. The Muslim government is meant to be the greatest shield for Muslims. It's like the protector for the whole Muslims. This is the first defense that we have. Then the second defense that we have is the family unit. The family unit has to be a family in which the teachings of Islam have to be prevalent there. They can't just be like Muslim by name. There has to be some active teaching of Islam going on in the family. Right? Families need to tell people, right, these movies, they are false, they are fake, they go against the teachings of Islam. Bollywood is wrong. Yeah, watching women dance and watching men dance and hug each other. And if families are not telling their children this from a young age, then when they grow up, like what aspect of Islam will that person know? That's the sad thing, that is. And unfortunately, a lot of Muslims, what happens is the only Islamic sort of aspect that they know is Ramadan. Ramadan comes, that we just fast and we have iftar. Eid comes, right? That's it basically. And for men, it's Jummah. And if a person lives their life like that, they don't have any belief system in their house. Like they don't have aqidah. They don't have like belief. That's the main thing, which is the problem that we have. This is why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud used to say that teach your families Surah Nur. Families should sit together and read Surah Nur and contemplate over it. This is extremely important because there's so many important topics in Surah Nur that will save a family from the feminism and of LGBTQ and all these kind of things. So I think that is probably the most important thing that Muslims have to understand. They have to, especially in the West, you have to actively educate your children from a young age. There is no like, magic medicine that you just give to someone and they'll just be protected. Because think about it, why do young women, especially Asian young women, why do they kind of get caught in the trap of feminism and LGBT? Why is that? It's because they have, right? They seem to be structured, right? That's the most important thing. They seem to have a structure. They seem to have some sort of like family belonging system, right? And their cause seems to be something that you feel sorry for, right? They're like the minority. They're being oppressed, and you can do that with anything. Like you can literally take any society cause out there, and you can make it like that, and then people will feel sorry for them. Just like I put up a tweet today as well, which was the idea of like let's say someone makes a movie about shirk, right? Or someone makes a movie about, I don't know, anything which is really bad, yeah, about some evil dictator. What happens is people become so desensitized to that particular issue that they start to feel sorry for the dictator. They start to feel sorry for the brutal murderer, or etc. And then take films that encourage homosexual relations, or they encourage anything else, or drinking alcohol, all that kind of stuff. For those who don't believe in Allah, that just seems fine. Like, why would that be wrong? Right? But those who have objective values and morals and ethics, for them, they need to educate the masses about why these things are wrong. It's extremely important. Otherwise, it just becomes just like people don't understand why we don't stand up for the rights of for certain communities. Like next, what's going to happen is pedophilia. Yeah, so pedophilia will become something which people are going to fight for. So are we gonna then go with everything they say? In any case, people want to get married to an animal. People want to, I don't know, incest as well. Are we gonna say, right, incest is okay as well, just because two people love each other and etc.? No, so we have to educate. Education is extremely important. Families need to realize this, right? They can't expect their kids to become teenagers and learn for themselves. That's the dangerous time. Right. Difficult to keep up with advanced tech now. There's metaverse. I think we will see improvements in holograms in the next few years. Yeah, I think that's the next thing, isn't it? Like classroom. You can be in your own house and you can be in a classroom at the same time. Iron Man style. Javlon Beck. Ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my brother. Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. How do you memorize the Quran? I don't know. I'm not a hafiz of the Quran. But it's best, Rashid Omar, to ask someone who's a hafiz. So anyone who's a hafiz, please give brother Rashid some tips. Can you pray Isha? Happy anniversary. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Can you pray Isha half an hour after Maghrib in summertime? I personally would say no. I would say after an hour at least. Too much indoctrination in the media now. Can't even watch kids shows without finding. Yes, it's becoming like crazy now in everything. And there was actually this guy I was watching called Mark Walsh. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, Mark Walsh. And he's like really kind of thought provoking, because he's kind of against this whole issue of, gender fluidity and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, pronouns. So he's very, very interesting. So maybe have a listen to him. Mark Walsh, his name is an American. I get the sequence part for missing one salah. Why do I have to repeat Zuhr and Asr qada? Yeah, so because they say the sequence is wajib, what you've done is you've broken that sequence. So to re-enable that sequence, you'll have to do all those salats again. Yeah, so if you missed your Fajr and then you pray a Zuhr, then you pray a Fajr, you've broken the sequence. So that's why you will have to pray a Zuhr again in order to reset that sequence. What are the differences between Qiyamul Layl and Tahajjud? Same thing. Qiyamul Layl, Tahajjud, same thing. Aspiring, wa alaikum jazakallah khair. Amazing to hear, mashallah. Reached 10 years. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you immensely in this dunya akhirah. Jazakallah khair. I will reply to your email, inshallah, as well. I've just been a bit tied up today. But inshallah, jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for your kind du'as for my channel. May Allah bless you immensely and your kind support for my channel as well. 10 years. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, 10 years, like a 10-year-old kid I've got called Rook. The 10-year-old kid called Rook. Actually, what you can do, try to find the first video that I ever made. Yeah, try to find the first video I've ever made. Would you happen to know whether the cave of Ashab Kahf is more authentic in Jordan, Turkey? So this is an interesting one. Mufti Taqi Usmani has actually written a book on this. And he said there's actually 5 opinions about where the cave is. 5 opinions. So we have no idea. Reality is we have no idea. Could be the one in Jordan. Could be the one in Turkey. I haven't visited them. I've got friends that have gone there. But yeah, it's something, I don't know, something which is strange. I think people like... Okay, someone on here. If I generally follow a particular fiqh, can I follow the rules of another fiqh, i.e. a difference in asr rule? As long as you ask this, as long as you get a fatwa from the scholar, and you're not doing it just to kind of pick and choose or whatever you want, then it's fine. Now I lived study in Japan. It's difficult to find halal food. Can I have shrimp? Yes, inshallah. Go for it, my brother. Go for it. Not a hafid, but I'm currently doing it. There's 3 parts to it. Sabak. Oh, I think you say sabak. Sabak, bara, and dor. Yeah. So sabak is your daily lesson. Sabak bara is recapping the previous lessons, and dor is revision. Oh, brilliant! You said nicely. Excellent. Usually I'll read the portion that I'm memorizing a couple of times. Actually, I'll put this up. Memorize a couple of times in its entirety, then memorize. Then memorize the ayah by ayah, continue repeating the ayah and looking in where I need to. Okay, interesting. Once I memorize the first ayah, go into the second in the same manner. After each ayah, I pray how much of the portion I have memorized a couple of times from memory. Oh, inshallah. Beautiful. And then once the portion is completed, I will pray it a couple of times from memory. Also, you pray in salat, you mean like in nafal salat. Fantastic. Excellent. Mark Walsh is really good. Yeah, I mean, I just recently kind of started listening to him. Because shrimp is considered haram in one mazhab, but it's not in another. Yeah, it's not haram in the mazhab. It's considered to be disliked, yeah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi boxing. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother. Long time no see, my brother. MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. Ya Allah. Okay, listen. I'm gonna go off Instagram now. Is there anyone that wants me to stay on Instagram? Otherwise, I will be leaving Instagram. Advice to Alimiya students: work hard, brother. All I can say is take as much benefit as you can from your teachers, and try to do extra work. That's what I would say, definitely. Yeah, respect your teachers. Try to get as much as you can get done. That's the most important thing I learned from I wish I could go back and do much more. If 2 mosques having conflicting times for Salah, could I pick the later one in times of difficulty, even if yes? As long as they're reliable mosques, yes, you can. I heard the hadith regarding laughing in Salah that breaks Salah only applies to men. No, not in Hanafi fiqh. It applies to everyone, men and women. Hudhaifa, wa alaikum assalam. Which book in Urdu and English would you recommend for Aqidah for a beginner student? In Urdu, there's actually a good book by Maulana Idris Khan Delvi. He's got 2 books. He's got one on Aqidah, one Ilm al-Kalam. Yeah, so I've got it somewhere here. I can't remember where it is now. Yeah, but if you look that up, there's actually a book by him, and then there's actually a good book by Maulana Mufti Khalid Saifullah Rahmani called Asan Ilm al-Kalam. That's good as well. And also, if you want English, then Mufti Abdul Rahman Manghera has a good Fiqh al-Akbar. So he's got a translation of Fiqh al-Akbar with footnotes on there. That's very good. Wa alaikum assalam, Sharif, ahlan wa sahlan. What are the options on Nuh alayhi salam ship resting place? I have no idea. I've heard some people, some historians have said in the mountain of Judi, but we have no hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, authentic hadith, right, that says where it is. So we can't really say more than that. How can you improve your reading? So what you need to do is you need to start reading Arabic storybooks. Arabic storybooks. Yeah, definitely. And my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is the biggest tool, my brother. Ismat Ali, my YouTube channel is the biggest tool, I would say. It's called Roots of Knowledge. Just as I am memorizing, can I read the last 2 ayah of Surah Baqarah in Salah? 1 ayah? Yes, you can. Yep. What are the best tafsir kitabs to study? It depends how much Arabic you know, brother. How much Arabic do you know? Salam, I am following your playlist of how to read the Quran. How long does it take to fully master Arabic? The videos are very helpful. So can you read Arabic script? Yeah, can you read Arabic script? If you can read Arabic script, then you probably can learn fully Arabic and understand it maybe in 2 years, I would say. A very good level. Okay, Mufti Taqi Uthmani will read into it, currently writing a piece for the British Muslim magazine in regards to authenticity of each place. Personally only visited the Jordan site. Yeah, so he's got, but I don't think his book has been translated into English. It's in Urdu. Yeah, so if you know Urdu, then you're gonna enjoy it. If you don't know Urdu, then you're gonna find it struggle. And I think there's actually a book. I've got the book Stories of the Prophets. Stories of the Prophets by Hifzur Rahman. Author is called Hifzur Rahman. Stories of the Prophets, and in the story of that, he's actually mentioned a little bit about the location. Yeah. Sadi, when was 20 rakats Tarawih established, Sheikh? In the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Wa alaikum assalam, my brother Maji. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. How is Safura, and how is my favorite Safiya? Or actually, my favorite Safura. Has Sharif been watching Spriggan? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Blueberry. How can we keep our motivation for learning Arabic? Because when things get difficult, it's easy to give up. Yeah, it's true. I'll tell you how I continue my motivation. I can't tell you because everyone's motivation is different, isn't it? Everyone's got different incentives. The way I continue is I always used to ask myself this question. If I was to leave Arabic, if I was to stop Arabic, what else can I be proud of in my life? Right, for the deen of Allah. What else can I be proud of? And I couldn't find anything. So I just thought to myself, you know what? I've got to continue. That's the thing that kind of pushed me. So I don't know what kind of inspires you. What would inspire you to continue? What about Qasas al-Nabiyin as Arabic reading? I don't recommend Qasas al-Nabiyin for beginners. I know it's put in the syllabus, but I prefer before Qasas al-Nabiyin. I think people should read like Arabic storybooks for kids. Qasas al-Nabiyin is actually designed for kids, you know. Yeah, it is designed for kids. But yeah. I use your videos to prepare for my Kuduri. Ahla wa sahla, mashallah. Welcome, my brother. They're well asleep, yeah? Mashallah, knocked out. That's it, man. Yeah, Allah. All right, so let me just open the window, guys. Get a bit of cool air in the room. Yeah, nice. Nice cool air. Today it's been quite hot. It's been quite hot in the morning. Actually, look, this is so hot. This is what happened to my hand. I was having breakfast outside, and my hand is actually, the skin started to flake a bit, which is a good thing. I know I should be putting cream on. So my hand actually got really kind of sensitive. So I'm gonna put some cream on it or something. I don't know. But yeah, proper hot, and then all of a sudden, rain, cold rain. Something more simpler than qasas, but most places just stick to qasas and don't go beyond. Yeah, I don't know why that is. There are so many kind of, like, if you remember my whole collection of kids books, any one of them, if you start reading them, you'll be able to start reading Arabic if you keep practicing. Salafis memorize small mutuns for Aqidah, etc. Are these okay for non-Salafis? I think it's one's called Wasitiyah. So Aqidah Wasitiyah is written by Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. I would so Aqidah Wasitiyah is okay, it's fine, but Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah's book, I think a person should only start reading them later on in his journey of knowledge, because there are certain things that he said which are very controversial. So a person should just be aware of that. So once later on he becomes firm, I wouldn't recommend for people to memorize Aqidah Wasitiyah. Although most of it is just ayats of the Quran and Hadith. It's very basic, it isn't really kind of very controversial. Do you follow the early Fajr position? Yes. In some I do. The hadith from Umar about trying to find honor in anything other than Islam will lead us ruin is one of my favorites. Yeah, I like that as well. I like quoting that as well in many of my talks. Yeah, it's a powerful statement. Right. Is Urdu important to learn because I'm learning Arabic to English? Urdu is not important to learn. No. It's good to learn as a language because there's lots of resources. Just like learning Turkish is good. Even learning Persian is good as well, because there's a lot of literature that has been written by scholars in the past hundreds of years. So you can get access to those. Otherwise, to learn Islam, you don't need to need Urdu. Do you still having heat wave in Europe? Yeah, at the moment I think it's just finished today. I live in America and there are not that many Muslim people in Arizona. I was wondering if marshmallows are halal. That's a bit of random. That's a bit of a segue there. So if they contain gelatin, which is an unknown source, then no, person should avoid it. Otherwise, if it's vegan based, then it's fine. Try to get vegan based ones. You can get them online. I'm sure online, if you search, you'll find some. Miss this. If you have already answered, can you pray Isha half an hour? I would say no. I would say 1 hour after. What time do you pray Fajr at the moment? About 1:15. Patrick, wa alaikum assalam. How hope you in good health and high iman. Long time no see, my brother. Which Aqidah book covers most popular discussions in English or Arabic? So the most common Aqidah book that you can kind of get is a book by Imam Tahawi rahimahullah, Aqidah Tahawiyah. But there's also, if you want like an easy book to follow, there's a series of books written by Dr. Umar al-Ashqar, Dr. Umar al-Ashqar. Yeah, and it's translated into English as well, and it kind of like nicely goes through the whole series of Aqidah. Yeah, and I've used that for my series. I've made a course on my Rook.com, which is called the Aqidah, I think Essence of Aqidah, and in there I've kind of used a lot of that and gone through the main tenets of Aqidah, the 6 aspects of Aqidah. Yeah, belief in Allah, belief in the messengers, belief in the books, belief in the angels, belief in divine decree, and belief in the hereafter. Where does the early Fajr position come from? So the early Fajr position basically is based on the half night, because like, if you go outside now, if you're in the UK, look outside, look on the westerly horizon, you'll see light there. It's light. So that means Isha time, technically, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, hasn't started. So what they do is they split the night in half. From Maghrib till Fajr, they split in half, or till sunrise, split in half. And then the second half, they call it Fajr, and the first half, just before the first half, is Isha. Also, do Asufa have online Alimia course? They used to, but they stopped it because there wasn't that much interest. Yeah, they used to, but they stopped it. 1:15 a.m. Yes, 1:15 a.m. My brother, you need to come to UK. In Islam, Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. Does Surah Mulk have to be read right before sleep, or can it be read Isha? Yes, you can read it after. Basically, you can read it at night time after Maghrib all the way till night time, anytime. Boxing MMA. My local masjid prays Isha 1 hour after Maghrib, but Fajr is 3ish. Where would I find the times for Fajr as the local masjids don't pray early? So I don't think London does it. Right. This rule is not for London. It's actually for Birmingham upwards. That's where we have the twilight phenomenon. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, try to maybe. I don't think it's in London. Yeah. So you might find difficulty in London. Do you read Farsi, Mufti Saab? I can understand about 30-40% of Farsi, maybe more. Here in the early Islamic texts were over to India subcontinent were in Farsi, but most are lost. Yes, that's true. In fact, most you'd be shocked when the Mongols, when they attacked the Muslims and they destroyed the libraries of of Baghdad, they actually say they only left 8% of what was there. So the books that we have that have reached us from the early years, a vast majority have been wiped out of history. Yeah, so they actually took the books, actively burnt the books. So this was one of the biggest disasters that Muslims ever faced, which was their libraries being burnt down. Unfortunately, but Allah's deen is protected, alhamdulillah. We don't need the books of scholars to protect Allah's deen. Allah will protect it through whatever means He wants. What's your favorite usul book? Usul fiqh or usul hadith? My local masjid pray Isha 1 after. No, masjids don't do Fajr early Jamaat though. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so see what happens. So there are some masjids in Birmingham that actually do early Jamaat, but they're not like a masjid. They're just like a small little group of people get together and they do their own Jamaat. Yeah. So what tends to happen is if I can wake up for Fajr on time, because by the time I come back from work, by the time I go to sleep, sometimes I go to sleep 12:30, 1 o'clock anyway. And to get up for Fajr again, sometimes I find it difficult. So what I'll do is I'll just have to pray at the early time. Yeah, otherwise I'll miss the Salat Fajr time in the masjid. So it's just a kind of like a safety thing for me. It's easier. But if I can get up, then obviously I'll get up. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So you just get only a nap after Q&A? No, I don't sleep after Q&A. Yeah, I don't. So because I come back late from work usually, by the time I come back from work, it's about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then, by the time you're trying to wind down, I'm going to do my reading as well for the next lessons for next day. And that can take me an hour, 2 hours sometimes reading. I'm from your ends. My friend from London prays Fajr early. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can find, if you check, for example, like, I don't know, maybe like, Saddam Masjid has it. Saddam Masjid has it. Yeah, so they do like that time. And my local masjid actually doesn't do it early, but they actually have an early time. Yeah, they have on the timetable, they show the early time. Yeah, so if you check GB, go to GBMF online, go to GBMF, and they'll give you the early timetable. Or you go to Jami Masjid, right, Aston, and then you'll find their timetable online. Best way to keep yourself motivated studying without a madrasa environment, company, get yourself some good friends. Biggest important thing is buddies. I think it's good. Will encourage people to pray in Jamaat at 1:15. Yeah. So the thing is, according to Hanafi fiqh, the Salat timings should be in such that it encourages people to have a greater Jamaat. That's the thing. And these kind of timings were very strange. We never used to get these timings in the past. So people in the past, in the time of the Sahaba, used to go to sleep like about 10ish, 9:30, 10, and they'd easily be able to wake up for 4 o'clock. But obviously, with people's schedules and times and work patterns, for a lot of people, that luxury isn't there. Sunrise is just before 5 a.m. Yeah. Do you spread peanut butter on apples or no? Never heard of that, brother. First time I heard of that one. Do you? Dar in Birmingham pray Isha Jamaat straight after Maghrib, Jamaat during summer. Yeah, because I think they follow the Hanbali position. I think they follow Hanbali position on that. There's also a masjid, I think Amana might do that as well, or Masjid and Hikmah. What's your work? How's your daily routine like? So my work is I teach. So I teach in the daytime, and I also teach at nighttime as well. Nighttime, teach from about 7:30 all the way till about 9:30, 10, and then by the time I get home, it's late. I was asked to help organize a get-together for colleagues to sort out a day. It's been set at a pub, sadly. Am I liable for a people drink? Am I liable for if people drink? Do I got asked to change location, seek over? Yeah, so if it's out of your control, it's your job, isn't it? Like the job has decided that. So then it wouldn't be. But I mean, what I would say is, look, try to avoid going there. As a Muslim, you don't want this to be something which has an effect on your connection with Allah. Yeah, so try to avoid going there. If it's something really important that you have to attend and or it's going to affect your position at your job, then only as a last resort then go. But otherwise, try to avoid it. If this is where I'm from in the States, there's no one around. It's tough out here to keep motivated. Okay, but online, get yourself a buddy group online. That's the best thing. Yeah, so online, get yourself a buddy group, get yourself like a WhatsApp group, and you can communicate with people. You can motivate each other. But you're right. I mean, I understand it's going to be very difficult if you're in a place where there's no real local Muslim community there. Could you do a video explaining the 18 degrees Fajr? A lot of guys confused on this. Yes, inshallah. But the timings, like this half, that's not 18 degrees. This 1:15 one I'm talking about, it's not 18 degrees. That is basically for those people who do not have a start of Fajr time. So what they do is they artificially make a Fajr time. But yeah, I can explain. I think I'm sure I've explained 18 degrees before. Also, in Hanafi fiqh, Fajr is preferred as close to sunrise as possible. Yeah, not exactly very close, but when it's light outside. So the Hanafis say when it becomes illuminated, that's when it's considered to be. So not right before sunrise. Is if a small part of someone's aura, less than a quarter of a limb, is uncovered before starting a prayer, would the prayer be considered valid? Yes. Ajib, how time is the same and time is different. It's still the later part of Dhuhr in my location. Allahu Akbar. That's Mufti Adam's take on early Fajr. Mufti Sahab, can you explain how it's allowed to change people for Islamic things, whether it's Quran or any type of Islamic service? How is it allowed to charge people? Yeah, so basically, there's ikhtilaf amongst the Sahaba about this issue, right? So, for example, like there was a man, and he was stung by a scorpion. So he asked Sahaba. So he was a village leader. He asked Sahaba for help, and one Sahabi said, "I'll help you, but only if you give me, a payment for it." It was okay. So he went and he began to read Surah Fatiha to him, and eventually, after a few days, he got better. So he gave him the promised payment. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ said, "It's fine. The payment you took is fine." So does this mean that you can charge for teaching or being an imam or the muazzin? So here, when it comes to, like, for example, Imam Hanifa didn't allow it. He didn't allow it at all. He didn't allow the imam to take money. He didn't allow muazzin to take money. He didn't allow anyone to teach Quran to charge for it at all. And because the government would fund, all teachers were funded by the government. Every teacher had a wage. Every imam of the masjid had a wage from the government. So they didn't need to charge people for it. So as the time went by, in the 400 years after the Prophet ﷺ, the government slowly stopped funding the scholars. Now, if scholars are not funded, what do? So they obviously got to provide their families. They got to live in a house. They got to pay rent, and so either they're going to get a full-time job and cut down their teaching or not teach. And the more people that cut down on teaching, the less people will get educated in the community. And after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, less people will know the religion properly, right? Because scholars can't dedicate themselves to teaching, right? Now, if you say, well, scholars should live under a tree or live under a cave, well, you're living on a different planet because they're human beings and they require funds. So therefore, the Hanafi scholars actually allowed for them to take based upon the Maliki and the Shafi'i fatwa, which is permissibility for taking for this. And also, the argument that the Shafis and Malikis use is like, what is the greatest act you can ever do in Islam? Is fighting in a battle, isn't it? You fight in a battle against the enemy, fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, you say. Yet, in the path of Allah, you can actually get paid for the path of Allah. Yeah, the war booty is a payment. And in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, he actually used to pay soldiers to guard the Muslims. Right. So again, so this, I think people get confused when they hear, like, for example, the idea of religion and the idea of money, and they think money and religion is two opposite things, and which is not necessarily the case. Right. So this is why, if you want good, like, service of deen, you need to dedicate people. Okay, tell the scholars to teach for free, but you pay them then. What I personally think should happen is every community should chip in money, put money together in a kitty, and pay every imam in their community, so that imams do not have to take a wage from the masjid. And every Quran teacher should be paid, so they don't have to worry about charging people for it. Right? If Muslims could do this, alhamdulillah, this is the best thing that you can have. And I honestly think Muslims should do this. They need to think about the future of their communities. They need to think about who is going to be teaching all of this. This is something which, unfortunately, the average layperson doesn't realize. Like, they would never expect a doctor to treat person for free, even though the doctor is saving someone's life. And when someone say, "By you're saving someone's life, you don't charge. Yeah, you should do this for free." Doesn't make sense. Yeah. Okay, next. After watching many of your lessons, I keep feeling demotivated because I can't seem to remember the letters. Even though I practice, I still seem to forget. What can I do to... Okay, so what I would suggest you do is try to get yourself a buddy that's doing the course, that same course with you, and you try to, like, revise together. So maybe you call each other, or you record yourself and you send it to them, and they watch it and they'll tell you, okay, well, this is the mistake I think you're making. When you have buddies is a very powerful way of motivating each other to do good things, I would say. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, by the way, on Instagram, I'm going to be going, guys. So if you want to join me, come on to my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think that is the most important thing. Can I come to you to test me on Fiqh al-Muyassar and Quduri? I can, in fact, send you an exam paper. And if you, as long as you're not checking the book and you do the exam paper and send it to me, I can do that. Or exam papers. Assalamu alaikum. Can you explain 12, 15, 18 degrees Salah timings and for Suhur, please? Yeah. So the 12, 18 degrees timings, this is, if you watch my Quduri, I don't know if you watch my Quduri. In my Quduri, I explain this. Right. So the 12 is basically to do with the sun's position. Right. So sun's position under the horizon. So this is the horizon. And when the sun is below the horizon, it's dark outside. But the lower it goes, the more darker it is. Yeah. So in other words, the closer it is to the horizon, we say it's more lighter. So therefore, if it's 1 degree below the horizon, that's basically before sunrise, it's light. If it's 2 degrees, it's less light. If it's 3 degrees, less light. 4 degrees, 5 degrees. So at what point do we say that the sun is below the horizon and now Fajr starts? So some say 12 degrees. So 12 degrees below the horizon. Yeah. So imagine, for example, like, I don't know, this is, let's say this is my battery. Yeah. So this is below the horizon. But at what degrees is it below the horizon? 12 degrees? Or is it 15 or 18? Now, we don't know exactly in the time of the Prophet ﷺ what degrees did they used to follow, because they never used to follow any mathematical sort of observations. It was just, eyeballing it. Whatever they saw, if they saw it's a bit light outside, they would say Fajr started. So it was based upon the appearance of the light on the horizon. That's what it was. So this 18 and 15 and 12 degrees thing, actually discussion came hundreds of years later, when now Muslims became more scientific, and now they're starting to analyze things according to, like, that kind of data. But yeah, I'll try to make a more detailed video, inshallah, in the future. Is it makruh haram to wear shorts? So it's sinful, both sinful. Makruh is sinful, haram is sinful. Why do Hanafis have the positions and not sure? Because there's a hadith the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned, in which he mentions the knees as being part of the aura. Is Sheikh Atabek trusted scholar? I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea. He has a unique position on mortgages that my friend has taken. Should I advise? I'm not too familiar with him. Wa alaikum assalam from the woods. Ahlan wa sahlan. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Sisamak. I can't see your name, brother, but can you please explain the composite steps in Salah? Salah, you mean? What I would suggest, my brother, is check out my series on Kuduri. I've actually explained it in a lot of detail over there. Yeah, so check out my series on Kuduri. I will try to find it for you, and then you can check it out over there yourself. Okay, let me try to find it for our brother here. Okay, provident prayer, optional prayers, missed prayers, rules of Fajr prayers, covering the body, chapter of Adhan, 61. Body obligatory actions. Okay, obligatory actions of prayer. So I've explained it over here. Prayer actions. There you go, brother. Okay, Nizam al-Mulk was one of the first start paying teachers and even students to learn his madrasas. No, it was actually, he was the first. Actually, Umar radiallahu anhu's time was the first. So Umar actually had to pay for teachers. Subhanallah. You're welcome, my brother Nafim. You're welcome. You're welcome. What is your opinion on Mufti Menk? And have you? I have no idea. I don't know him very well. If a slight amount of person's lower back is shown in Salah beneath the navel, is the Salah broken? If it's a slight, no. If it's a lot, yes. Ridwan, how to say the first four in Arabic? Can I choose either Arabi or Rabi'a and then one al-awwal? So it depends. What are you talking about? Are you talking about a feminine word or a masculine word? If you're talking about a feminine word, then you have to use if you're talking about a feminine word, then you got to use the one with the feminine. Al-ula, al-thani, like say the first car, second car, third car, fourth car, yeah? So car is feminine. So you say as-sayyaratu al-ula, as-sayyaratu al-thaniya, as-sayyaratu al-thalitha, as-sayyaratu al-rabi'a. If you're talking about a book, you say al-kitab al-awwal, kitab al-thani, kitab al-thalith, kitab al-rabi'. So the other schools of thought that say knees are not part of the order, where do they get their positions? Yeah, so it's an ikhtilafi issue. So for example, like the Shafis say that there's a hadith which says up to the knees. So the argument, they say, well, it doesn't say the knees, it says up to. So is the knees included in there or not? That's the ikhtilaf. It's just how you interpret the wording of the hadith. Can I email you for the exam questions once I complete the course? Inshallah, you can email my brother. Is it haram to get a fade haircut? No, it's not. How to read the Arabic years like a sana alf? So you start off with the last number, the biggest number. So 1,000. Like you will say this, 1,234. Yeah. So you start off with 1,000. Right. So alf, mi'atain, 24. Yeah. 24 سنة. ألف 224 سنة. Or 34 سنة. Is the number ma'rifa nakira? No, nakira. So ألف و 234 هذا. So the word atafs. A lot of scholars passing away, Sheikh. Yeah, subhanallah. Life's short. How can learn Quran easily? Best thing to do, my brother, is try to get a local scholar. Local scholar is probably the best person sit with, or you can get someone online where you can learn live with them. I would always say that is the best thing to do. Definitely. Anyway, guys, I have come to the end of my session. Someone asked a question here. Is it permissible for a man to touch an older woman, like 50 years old? I'm asking because sometimes parents, non-Muslim friends come in for a hug, and I want to know if it is impermissible. Wassalam, it should be avoided as much as possible. As much as possible. If you feel that they are old and not sexually attractive, then it's possible. Ya Allah. Is having a fade haircut makruh? Asking because I need to understand it properly. No, it's not. No way has the Prophet ﷺ ever said having a fade haircut is makruh. So I don't know. So look, we get our rulings from Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, and obviously the interpretation of the experts about this. So the Hanafi scholars have nowhere mentioned, in the early Hanafis, and never mentioned about makruh haircuts or that style of makruh haircut. Assalamu alaikum. Situation as war disaster, etc. There are mass casualties. Should there be burials and one single janazah for them? Yes, there can be, if there's a need. Imam of Masjid Qiblatain passed away. Inna lillahi rajiun. Yeah, subhanallah. I remember he came to England a few years ago. May Allah give him Jannah al-Firdaus. Subhanallah. About the first 4 questions, the problem is in second part. Al-awwal, al-awail. So al-awwal is a singular. The jama' of awwal is, you can have uwal or awail. Yeah. But uwal is actually used for like order. Yeah. So you'll say الكتاب الأول, الكتب الأول. You can say that. Al-awail is like the first ones. Al-ula is a feminine version. Appreciate your time, Shay. You're welcome. Inna Rajun. Book review. So you forgot that one there, bro. And look for a good book. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, Fatima. Sheikh Mahmoud. Does having a fade haircut fall under qaza? No, it doesn't. Right, so let's have a look at a book. Let's have a look at a book. A look at a book. Right, what kind of book shall I pull out for you guys today? Okay, let's choose this book over here. This is a good book. Al-Isnadu min ad-Din. This is a book by Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda. And I remember getting this book when I was in Pakistan. Yeah, this is a book I got in Pakistan. And it was a set of books that I actually bought. Yeah. No, actually, I think I got this book. Yeah, I think I got this book as a competition I won. Not competition, but I came first in exam. So I actually got this as that. And this book is very good. I didn't understand it when I got it, right? Because it was a bit advanced for me. I didn't really kind of cover these topics in detail. This is a book where I would say, if you studied Usul Hadith, then definitely read this book with Usul Hadith. Right? So if you study an Usul book, Hadith book, which is something like, I don't know, maybe Nukhbat al-Fikr, or maybe even Muqaddam ibn Salah, then definitely read this book. Very, very good. And I benefit a lot from this book, and I also benefit a lot from Al-Ajubat al-Fadila, yeah, by Sheikh Abdul Hayy Laknawi. This book is basically about the importance of this concept of chains of reports in Islam. Like those people who don't know about chains, you'd be they get so shocked to find out that in Islam we have a chain that goes back to nearly everything that we have in our religion. Like we can prove it that this was said. Right? It can't have just been brought out of thin air. So because our religion is based upon what Allah has told us and what the Prophet ﷺ has passed down, therefore, this is something which is amazing. Yeah, because it kind of tells us this history of chains and what the scholars said about it and the importance of it and various sort of measures that were taken in preserving the chains as well. Yeah, so in fact, let me just read some of the Usually check out the Fatah Abu Ghudda's contents pages that are so long, yeah, and they're really detailed, which is a good thing. Yeah, without a doubt, definitely, I would definitely say this is an excellent thing. So, for instance, like I'm just going to randomly just look at some topics. For example, so for instance, like the concept of like why is sanad so important, and why is the whole concept of a chain so important in our religion for having every quote linked to a chain, right? Because obviously we can authenticate it whether it was true or not. And this idea of like preserving this whole concept of narrators, memorizing narrator names, their age, when they died, when they studied, etc., when they traveled. The whole concept of chains actually being something unique to the Muslim Ummah. No other like historical nation has preserved the names of so many narrators like this Ummah has. In fact, 500,000 narrators have been recorded. And then what else? Okay, how errors were made, like how people made errors in quoting things, and then they were caught out. Yeah, so this is a good book. Yeah, definitely, I would encourage students. It's Arabic. Arabic is not that easy, not that hard. I would say it's like in between, right? So if you're in the fourth year, you should be able to read it. Fourth, fifth year, you should be able to read it. Nice lights, by the way. Just seeing the colors are different. Yeah, they changed, aren't they? So because it's the 10th anniversary, guys. Yeah, so this is, as I mentioned yesterday, this is the 10th anniversary, guys, of Roots of Knowledge. MashaAllah, this week has been the 10th birthday. Yeah, so congratulations to Roots of Knowledge. Tea review. Maybe in the future. After your description of an Athari, do you think it will be okay if I say I'm an Athari, not card carrying? Just, yeah, it's fine. Nothing wrong. Have you come across the Simple Seerah story by Asim Khan? I've heard of it, but haven't read it now. How is it? Is it good? Any items on your Amazon wish list, Musab, you could offer subscribers to buy for the channel? I got refunded a speeding fine today, so have mashallah. You got a refund a speeding fine, yeah? Excellent news. That is that's made my day. That's yes, I think that's a good idea. I'll do that, inshallah. I'll do that. At the moment, I've just been like so busy with things because it's near the end of the year and exam times are so far. So I've got to sort out so many things for that. And also, I'm still in two minds about Pakistan at the moment. I still haven't booked a ticket, and so it's just because at the moment the tickets are very expensive. Like I looked at the tickets, the cheapest I was getting was for like about £1,000 ticket, right? And that's like £1,000. That's at the cheapest. So I don't know at the moment with planes getting cancelled and all that. Also, I don't want to kind of risk it, and with politics in Pakistan at the moment. Does your Usul Hadith course go over Isnad? Also, what is a weak chain? Yes. Haider, look, how come you're on the list by and you haven't gone through it? Go through it. Should get a cake. Definitely. Jazakallah khair, Sharif Sahib. Inshallah, Ameen Mabruk. Thank you very much, Fatima. Ameen. Caribbean boy, yeah, man. What's happening, bro? What's happening, man? Then if you go Pakistan, you can make your series when I was in Pakistan. Yeah, I can actually learn more stuff. So I can have a repository of more stories for you guys to tell. Look at that. That's the wisdom behind it. Right. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna 0121 do one. Yes, I actually made today. Guess what, guys? Today I actually made a video. I'm gonna edit it. I made a video on my books. Yeah, remember that series that started? My books series. So I made a series and I talked about this book here, Tasil Mantik, which I studied in the second year. So inshallah, you guys will see that. And I talk a little about Mantik as well, a bit about the history of Mantik as well. Can you give a small example of a Kuduri exam question? Of course I can, my brother. Of course I can. Let me just check question up. My questions are quite hard. I usually do open book questions, open book, so they're quite solid. Yeah, so students get a bit scared. Yeah, so I'll try to find a question for you, my brother. Okay, let's see. exams, where are my exams? Yeah, so here I'll show you. I will show you the exam paper, my brother, so you guys can enjoy the difficulty. Okay, so let's just check this one out. I don't know if you guys can see. I'll try to read it out if you can't see it. Okay, so this is the Kudu exam paper, yeah. So this is the mid exam that I had in 2020. Okay, so وقعت فيه إذا وقعت فيه نجاسة جاز الوضوء منه إذا لم يرى لها أثر. Explain your own words what Imam Quduri is saying with examples. Okay, that's one question. The following sentences. So you have to go through the book. I just bring like a sentence. I take out some words. You have to go through the entire section that they've covered, half the book, and you have to know where these are in the book. So, for example, من أصابه من النجاسة المغلظة something 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 جازت الصلاة معه. والقراءة في الفرض something 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 وإن شاء سكت. ويقول الآجر والخشب something 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 like that. So the whole section of that. Then another question. ومن تسحر وهو يظن أن الفجر لم يطلع أفطر وهو لا يرى. So translate the following and explain what the kafara is. Yeah, so you have to find that text and then like explain it. الربا محرم في كل مكان موزون. Translate the following and what type of riba is in bank loans. Right, so you have to explain that. Summarize the chapter of times of Salah in the lines provided and do not exceed. Okay, learn or list the 5 different types of differences between khiyar al-shart, khiyar al-aib, and khiyar ru'ya. So you have to go through the chapters and then you have to list 5 differences between them. So it's all open book, by the way, to the book. Answer the following questions. Yeah, answer the following questions. Who has to spend on rahan whilst he is in the hands of the murtahin? Can the judge declare someone a muflis? When can a Muslim sell bees? What's the difference of selling a cow in exchange for meat of a cow? Write down the procedure of claiming shufa. What happens to mal mudaraba if what happens to mal of mudaraba gets destroyed? I think a bit of a spelling mistakes there, but basically that's the So the point of this exam, the reason I do open book exams is because open book exams, they show me that the student knows the Arabic very well, like knows where all the maslas are. Yeah, so if a student knows where all the maslas are and understands them, then that makes me happy. That's the main thing. As opposed to a student who just like does a ratta, just like memorizes stuff and just like throws in exam paper. Okay. Are the hadith regarding the virtue of Surah Yasin fabricated weak, e.g. specifically regarding Surah Yasin after Fajr? Should we still take them? So the only authentic hadith about the Surah Yasin is that Surah Yasin is for whatever you recite it for. However, you can act upon weak hadith can be taken for virtue purposes. Yeah. I don't want to, so reading it after Fajr is fine. I don't want to go through many things at once. I'm going through quite a lot at the moment. That's fine, inshallah. Examity. Mabruk to the channel. Jazakallah khair, Ibn Adam. Ahlan wa sahlan. More benefit from you, inshallah. Ameen. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Salamti, how does the year run at so far time, Alimia, when are the holidays? So it works with like schools and colleges, same times. Yeah, so you've got starts in September and ends in July. And then you've got the holidays, the normal holidays that you get in schools and colleges. And the exams are twice a year. So one exam in January, end of January, and one exam end of July. I'm benefiting a lot. Jazakallah khair, Zed. Ahlan wa sahlan. May Allah give you more tawfiq to benefit. I'm ready to teach you the Caribbean accent. Yes, man. Caribbean accent. You gotta stretch it. Allahumma barik. Ameen. Does open book make it easy for students if they know where it is? Not exactly. In fact, from my experience, students find open book harder than, because what happens is students learn their notes. So students who like just rely on their notes and they don't focus on the Arabic text, they usually fail in the open book exam. And the ones who know the text very well, know Arabic very well, and have attended the lessons, they are the ones who will benefit more. Mumtaz. Just to confirm, if you miss witr, you don't have to make it before the next salah. No. متعلمة أهلا وسهلا وعليكم السلام. متعلمة क्या हाल है? खैरियत से है? Fatima, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the Shaykh during the nights and days. Ameen. Ya Rabb. Jazakallah khair. Beautiful dua. Fatima, may Allah bless you and your family as well. All right, guys. So I will now leave you guys. And inshallah, I will see you guys next week. Hopefully tomorrow I'll put up the video of Malfluti, inshallah, for those of you guys who follow that. And also maybe I'll try to get the edited, my books one edited. Geometric. So open book, they have to use commentary as well. Like they use the book that they have in class, basically. Yeah, they use the book they have in class. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abdul Razak, ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Iskhan, jazakallah khair, Zob. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys, take care, inshallah. And have a nice one. Yeah, and remember me and Roots of Knowledge in your du'as as well. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, by the way, yeah, some of my students were saying they want to start TikTok for my Roots of Knowledge. Yeah, just like take out snippets of my videos and maybe put them on there. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You guys let me know what you guys think. They'll be running it. They'll be running all of that. And then they're saying that there's a lot of like people out there who actually will benefit because they're unaware of the channel. It'll give more exposure to the channel, and then it will help them discover the channel more, inshallah. 10-year, Allah Akbar, knock knock, who's there? A jinn? Oh, a jinn that can't get in because we said Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before we went out. I thought you were going to say something about the 10 years there. Yeah, but that was a nice father joke there. Anas wa alaikum assalam. Tara, alaikum assalam, ta'alima, ahlan wa sahlan. All right, guys, so take care then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.